there, Cancer. Welcome to your mid-March 2023 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Ooh, so we're getting all up in the feels, aren't we? In Pisces season. Let's see. Moderation is key, right? Excess and moderation. Okay. Okay. So the thing that I was thinking about here was this idea of marriage, divorce. Obviously, this isn't going to relate to everyone. Um, and there's a choice, the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, but also let's just start. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Is that I did your April forecast. You're going to have a solar eclipse in your 10th house of career. So that, I mean, some of this that seems like it's from mid-March might even be for the month of April, and or even looking back from April into, from May, looking back on April, that the Nine of Cups is something about getting some wish fulfillment. Maybe that is career related. Maybe it is a raise or what have you. But the heart of the matter is the Temperance card. So it really is about moderation. Or that's not, I'm thinking of like, the Temperance Union in the United States, which was anti-drinking, anti-alcohol in the late 1800s, going into the 1900s, and connected to women's vote, right to vote. But the Temperance card is associated with Sagittarius, and it deals with if you look at the angel's feet, the foot immersed in water represents the spirit, but then there's one on the land, and that is kind of like the dance that we do. Are we grounded when we are spiritual? Are we spiritual when we are grounded? Are we excessive in one way or the other? The Nine of Cups would say, well, yeah, but so what? I want to eat, drink, and be merry. And so maybe there's this celebratory energy, like getting something that you want, and yet feeling this need to balance that out for some reason. So the reason I said about marriage and things like that is I got as the card that crosses you, the Justice card. So I was thinking in terms of someone who is going through a divorce and experiencing, some sort of injustice in that arena. Now, it could be that the person is not playing fair in some cases. So hopefully nobody that watches this is like that. I doubt that you are, because if you're, somewhat spiritual, you're not going to do things like that. But some cancers might be. And if they did so, maybe they want a lot of money from this other person. And it could be like if that person cheated, they're like, yeah, well, you're going to pay me then. And while it could be one of those things where you could say, well, that person deserved it under the circumstances, the other person broke the contract, the marital contract. At a higher level, the person has to ask themselves whether or not they are just being vengeful, and that's the way that they're looking to hurt that person is through the pocketbook. But anyway, the other thing that, if this is something to do with your work life, some of you may be feeling this sense of confusion because perhaps you got a raise or you got a promotion, and yet you feel guided to be doing some other type of work. I think that's one of the reasons why this is showing up in the spiritual position, because this could be like torn between two types of work. The Pentacles, whenever you see two, it could be some kind of decision or binary thinking, like it's either black or white, but usually a choice that has to be made. And in this case, it could be two types of work, or, maybe it's like letting you know you can do both. But the thing is that the Nine of Cups can suggest excess. So the person may be in a job where they make a lot of money, but it's not necessarily feeding their soul. It's like this thing that is very creating this indulgence within themselves. And that might be kind of like where you're going at. As I pointed out in the astrology reading for April, you have so much going on in your career sector. So besides Jupiter, Mercury is there. Also Chiron, and that could be the thing that's really influencing you in a more spiritual direction. And sometimes that means that the person isn't, it's like almost like turning their back on the world in a sense, because they're no longer service to self, they're service to others. And the world doesn't really understand people who are service to others, because there's such a selfish influence in our society. So these kinds of things have to be sorted out. Um, the Nine of Cups is, I think, associated with Jupiter and Pisces. So we'll just say water signs in general. And maybe somebody who is like, feels like true love for you, but that the Pentacles can relate to security. So you might be like being pulled in two different directions that are extremes. They're not, neither one is something that is irrelevant, but it could lead to a person perhaps believing that they have to be one way versus another, which is really that type of binary thinking that we're trying to get away from. So what's coming in is a Fool card, and actually, in this particular case, I always say when I do these readings and I get the Fool card that I think of April Fool's Day. I always think of the 1st of April. But I also think of that of Aries, because April 1st would be part of Aries season. And I think of Aries as, because it's the beginning of a new cycle, that the astrological wheel, that it really represents new beginnings at the highest level. And in this particular case, when we have the astrological new year, which, by the way, is when the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries, and it's going into spring in the northern hemisphere, we are also experiencing a new moon the very next day, which is going to be at 0 degrees of Aries. So if I look at it in terms of like what's coming in, this is, I am planning to do an end of the month tarot reading, which I can elaborate on. And of course, I have astrological readings for March, but I really feel like for you, that is something that births something new within yourself. But this is going to be something where you have to be content with the unknown, Cancer. If you are leaving a job, you have to be content with it. You can't expect to have everything just spelled out for you or guarantees about that. And it is challenging because, of course, people want guarantees. I think that is human nature. But it doesn't help us, because it's not really speaking to what we came here to do, in my opinion, which is to be adventurers in spirit on the material plane. Not never forgetting the spiritual as we are playing within the material plane. An emphasis on the word play. I mean, we have as the outcome the Three of Cups, which is a card that is you and your girlfriends. No Cancer men, not no license to be a player. But no, what I'm saying is, you and your comrades, you and your friends. And the reason that this is significant, there's actual astrological association with this, more for April. I almost feel like this is an April reading in a sense. But the bottom line is that what just came into my mind is you may have gone off the deep end. And I don't mean that you went crazy, but with the Nine of Cups, if you had something go your way and it kind of spun you around a little bit, now you're coming back. And it's good that you did, because it means that you can kind of get back on an even keel, but you may have decisions to make. And you have to be willing to travel a road that you've never traveled down before. I feel that like-minded people are very important to you at this time. And whether it's the people that you normally hang with, or if these are people that you've recently met that seem more resonant to you than the crew that you typically are with, I don't know, but I'm just saying. So that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.